Hi, we are the Star Group. My name is Mary. We have Kingston, we have Kendall, we have Juan. Our concepts addressed today will be Chapter 2, Human Performance Improvement, Chapter 3, Frederick Herzberg's Motivation Hygiene Theory, Human Resource Theory, and Human Relations. In Chapter 4 will be Systems Theory, Transitional Model, and Linear Model. Chapter 5, Horizontal Lateral Communication.
Okay, so adjusting the situation, obviously it was employees spending a considerable amount of time during work on various social networking websites. Maybe seeing how much technology was advancing, they maybe thought it would be too hard to control their workers. Perhaps they were worried about pushbacks if they created more policies about it. Either way, they decided to use an ethical communication to assess this, which is the HPI, the Human Performance Improvement. Um, the quote being systematic process used to identify performance problems, analyze root causes, and select and design actions, manage workplace solutions, measure results, and continuously improve performance with an organization. Okay, so analyzing the root cause, obviously the network usage during employee hours. And then they selected deciding to create their own networking website and designing to make it similar to the popular ones that were currently being used. And then, of course, manage the workplace solutions. They encouraged their employees to use this. Then, of course, measure results, and continuously improve, as one naturally does as time goes on. And so by doing this, they relate to the Frederick Herzberg's motivation theory of motivators and hygiene factors, calling it a motivator of, okay, this is an advancement in technology, using it as potential personal growth of being able to connect to other employees in other nations. And so, of course, they didn't want to focus on, creating strict policies, micromanaging, which, could ultimately affect relationships and bring down work conditions. They wanted to only look on one side of the coin, which was how to motivate the people. And so, with that, it's also a similar concept to the horizontal lateral communication. The first quote being McClelland de Wilmot's second suggestion for increasing the quality and quantity of horizontal/lateral communication is to establish a flexible chain of commands. Obviously, due to their size being multinational, that was very easy to jump in um, and find a solution for that. And then the other quote of one of the strongest benefits of the multinational corporation is the ability to rely on expertise and information across the various subsidiaries of multinational corporation. So by doing this, it allowed them to engage in expertise found outside of their management and, nationwide, and to branch out into other families.
I'm not going to analyze where we see similar concepts in the Starcom case and explain what the organization is doing right. In classical management, the focus is usually on making sure employees follow strict rules and do their specific job without any sort of outside distractions. In that type of environment, the manager is the only one with the answers, and the employees are just a part of the machine. However, Starcom moved towards human resource theory. This theory believes that every single employee has some type of untapped potential, meaning they have specialized knowledge and ideas that the company doesn't know about yet. Before this change actually took place, that knowledge was either locked away behind closed doors or department walls. In Starcom's old system, if an employee had specific expertise in a foreign market, like the example used in the case study, there was no formal way for the rest of the company to find it or use that without an external social media source. It was wasted energy. By building the new search engine, Starcom effectively tapped this tank. They moved away from the classical idea that a worker is just a pair of hands and realized that an employee's true value is what they can bring to the table. By making this change, Starkman successfully avoided the risk of strict top-down management and instead is becoming more modern organization that properly values and cares about employee input. A major part of our analysis is the distinction between human relations and human resources. They sound similar, but they are very different in reality. Human relations isn't just about being nice or providing social satisfaction to keep workers happy. They do this so that they don't quit. This is often based on the happy worker myth, which Wrench and his colleagues suggest that if you satisfy an employee's social needs, they will automatically be more productive at the workplace. If Starcom had strictly followed this type of model, they might have simply sanctioned a single platform, like strictly forcing them just to use Facebook for communication. However, forcing everyone to one platform purely for social media reasons would have limited the employees and failed to address the actual business needs. Instead, Starcom chose a human resources path, which focuses on the organization's improvement through actual, meaningful employee contribution. Starcom built its own specialized app because they wanted to truly get their employees' participation and commitment to the company. By creating a new platform where everyone is encouraged to share their unique skills with the company's global needs, they moved past the happy worker myth. They didn't just want to fix a mood or offer a social distraction. They wanted everyone to participate in the business by sharing their actual expertise. Next, we see the application in systems theory. Under this theory, Wrench and his co-authors compare an organization to a biological organism. Just as a living thing must constantly import energy to stay alive and healthy, an open system must import new resources to keep it from slowing down. This process is called negative entropy. While a closed system eventually tends to break down because it stops changing, Starcom acted as an open system by freely permitting new resources, specifically the diverse amount of information expertise of its employees globally. That allowed them to allow information to flow through the organization freely. By acquiring and processing this new information through the app, Starcom reversed the natural tendency toward disorder. Instead of trying to stay afloat, they used negative entropy to further their business, creating a more organized and effective system of communication. They didn't want the company to lose momentum. They used this new input and specialized knowledge of everyone in the organization, proving that to succeed in a global market, an organization must constantly adapt to change. Finally, we analyze the actual communication dynamics by comparing it linear and transactional models. In the linear model, communication is a one-way street, like a manager giving you an order and the employee simply receiving it without a real exchange. If Starcom had stayed linear, an employee in Chicago would have to wait for their boss who wanted to talk to them in London. But the pushpin and the bullseye concept mentioned in the case are perfect examples of the transactional model. In the transactional model, communication is a continuous process where everyone is talking and listening at the same time. The goal isn't just to send a message, but to create shared meaning between the organization. When you use the app to search for an expert, you become the center pin in that bullseye mentioned in the case study. You aren't just a receiver, you're an active part of a massive exchange. You're reaching out, getting feedback, and collaborating, turning that information into a new solution for your client. This is what Starcom is doing right. They've empowered every employee to be the center pin of their own communication app. Because this exchange is transactional and simultaneous, it removes the noise and the issues of the top-down system. Everyone participates in a big exchange, ensuring that meaning is shared across the entire organization without having to wait for a boss to bridge the gap. This concludes my analysis of why this transition was so successful. Now I'll hand it over to Juan.
Our focus is on giving clear or realistic recommendation based on what we learned in this case study and our course concept. Our goal is to improve communication, increase employees' engagement, and help the organization perform better overall. One major issue is that employees were using outside social media, which causes distraction and reduce productivity. This connects to the idea of holding back work, where employees disengage when they don't feel connected to the organization. There's also a lack of clear communication inside the company. Recommendation number one, use the theory why. Using theory why, the company should assume employees want to be productive. If given the right tool instead of controlling worker, managers should empower them by providing platform for collaboration and encourage participation. Starcom made a smart move. The second recommendation, Starcom made a smart move by creating its own internal network. We recommend continue to improve this platform so employees use it instead of a social media. This helps share knowledge and improve communication across the company. The other recommendation is protect employee privacy. It's important to balance communication with privacy. According to the Reading typology, communication should not feel intrusive. Employees need to trust the system, so transparency and respect are the keys. The other recommendation, number 4, encourage horizontal communication. Another recommendation is improve the horizontal communication. This means encouraging employees to communicate directly with each other across department. It helps share knowledge and improve teamwork. What expect outcome? What will improve? If these strategies are applied, the organization will see higher engagement, better communication, and improved productivity. It also creates a stronger and more connected workplace culture. What we learn, the lesson that learn, what the key takeaways. The bigger lesson is that communication directly impacts performance. Employees are not just workers. They're valuable resources with knowledge set and ideas. When supported with the right tools and trust, they can help the organization succeed. Finally, we led some discussion questions for the class. This is our mean to get everyone thinking about how communication works in the real organization and what could be improved. Should companies monitor employee communication? How can organizations balance trust and control? What will you improve in Starcom strategies? I pass, Mary.
For our outside source, I found a 2020 study titled Examining the Effects of Internal Social Media Usage on Employee Engagement. They surveyed over 1,100 employees in the United States and found that internal social media platforms increase transparency, employee connection, and overall engagement in the workplace. This directly supports our case study because the company created its own internal networking platform to improve communication instead of simply banning social media. Their system helped employees connect with other coworkers across locations, share expertise, and solve problems faster. This also connects with other theories from our presentation. It supports human performance improvement because Starcom used communication technology to solve a workplace issue. It supports Herzberg's theory because stronger engagement can act as a motivator. It also strongly supports horizontal communication by allowing employees to communicate directly across the organization. Overall, the source shows that internal social media can be a strategic tool for improving communication and performance. We appreciate you watching our video today. Thank you.
Thank you.